As you can see, the Some Yoshino trees here in Tokyo are not blooming, and you can still see the snow from yesterday's Snokyo, the Tokyo snowfall, on the ground. Most of it has melted. It's just whatever remains, kind of a memory of that one day that we had. How you doing, everybody? Welcome. This is very close to Monzen Nakacho, one of my favorite places to see the sakura cherry blossoms. This going in this direction, Monzen Nakacho Station. I thought that these cherry blossom tunnels are just so beautiful right now, but it looks like we are still, what is it, more than a month away from the cherry blossoms, but the fourth prediction to schedule has come out. Without further ado, let's get right to it. This is the forecast coming directly from the Japan Meteorological Corporation, JMC, which does this kind of stuff. I hope the audio is okay. Let me know. I will adjust it. As you can see, not too much has changed since the last forecasts, but as we get closer towards the cherry blossoms in the middle of March, we get much more accurate based on the history of the cherry blossoms blooming, and also the predictions based on the current weather and the forecasts looking forward. We look at Sapporo up in the north of Hokkaido. Of course, this is going to be blooming much later. So when you ask me, make this small for a second, when you ask me, where is the best place to see the cherry blossoms? My answer is always going to be, where are you going to go? When are you coming? Because there's no exact spot, exact time to say for Japan. It just depends where you're going and when you're going there. For the majority of the country, the middle of March starts to see the blossoms, but it doesn't really peak until about April 1st. This is almost like a guarantee. However, about 3 years ago, the blossoms were 2 weeks late because of a very cold winter spell that came and delayed everything. It really ruined people's plans, and a lot of people blamed, how dare Japan ruin the schedule? Japan had nothing to do with it. There were actually people who were quite upset about that. It had everything to do with the fact that the winter was just, you can't predict the weather so much. But they do a pretty good job of it. If you are coming in the middle of March, around the 20th of March for the cherry blossoms, it looks like you're probably going to hit the beginning of it just fine. So let me pull this up again. The Super Bowl is finished here. I'm going to get the live chat going as well in this so we can take a look at some of the comments here. We're going to keep this live stream brisk. Tokyo, the blossoms will start on March 20th. Around Kyoto, probably around March 22nd, and Osaka, March 24th. Usually it's about the same amount of time. Fukuoka, March 21st. Sendai, April 5th, which is we say the unofficial capital of Tohoku up in the north. But if you go up into the north, you don't see the blossoms in Aomori, which is maybe the most beautiful place to see it, until around April 20th, which is when the cherry blossoms are going to be coming out for the Hirosaki Sakura Festival, which is maybe the biggest and most famous in Japan. So it's a month after Tokyo, believe it or not. The cherry blossoms are still blooming even up to 2 months after in the very north of Hokkaido. So you can catch the cherry blossoms a month after they finish in Tokyo. You just got to go to the mountains. You just got to go up into Tohoku, to the places where the tourists aren't, and see it in nature, which is my great recommendation to you. It really is. Here's a let's put things in perspective here with a timeline here. So if let's look in the middle of it. Let's start with Tokyo. That's where most people come in here. If the blossoms start blooming around March 20th, they hit the peak March 28th. That's the forecast right now, right? And probably flowering date on the average year, usually it's the 24th. So it looks like it's going to be 4 days later than usual. That's very interesting. It's interesting. It's been a little bit chillier this winter, they say. That's probably why. But again, it's hard for us to predict what's going to happen over the next month. However, this is a lot better to plan on than the first 3 predictions that have come out from the start of the year, from January. This one is a little bit more accurate, so to speak. It's still a prediction. If we look at, let's look at Kyoto here, the 24th. It's pretty close to Tokyo. Kyoto, Osaka, Tokyo, they're kind of like, it's not really much of a big difference. Let's say the second, the middle of March, you'll start to see some blossoms depending on the tree. And then the middle of March, around the 20th, the 24th, you really start to feel cherry blossom fever in the cities. That's the same with Hiroshima. That's sort of the way it goes here. But this guide, what you're looking at, will help you make a pretty good idea. Maybe narrow in on the hotels if you haven't booked them by now. It's going to be really hard to get to get one because this is a really popular time of the year. You should have booked in advance. Let's be honest. If not, start looking at Tohoku. Start looking at places up north because it really is worth it to get out there. Now, with that said, this is the Some Yoshino variety of the cherry blossoms. This one here, okay? The one between us here. The Some Yoshino, this is an awkward position to be. The Some Yoshino cherry blossoms are the white ones. They're the ones that are most prevalent, the ones at the festivals. Well, they're all over the riversides and stuff across the entire country. These are the famous ones that this forecast, what people talk about, the Some Yoshino. Write that down if you haven't already. That's the one you need to know. Because there are dozens of varieties of cherry blossoms that don't bloom at the exact same time as this one. There's one that I've already showed you that bloomed last month called the Kawazu Sakura, which blooms in January and in October twice a year at the weirdest times. So cherry blossoms aren't just one variety. They're, Sakura could be the Kawazu Sakura, which is the next one I'm going to talk about. So bookmark this here, the Some Yoshino schedule, screenshot it, there you go. This variety is called the Kawazu Sakura. This is the one that's coming and blooming next. This one's coming up next week. It should start to bloom next. Actually, it's blooming right now. There's some of them in Kawazu, which is a city in Shizuoka, are blooming right now. I'm going to take you this weekend. Wait, hold on a second. This week, because the weekend just finished, I'm going to take you to some Kawazu Sakura here on the riversides of Tokyo, where you can go take a look at it. They're just starting to bloom right now. It's crazy. Before the ume blossoms, which are the plum blossoms, those are not cherry blossoms, they're plum blossoms. Those will be blooming really soon. But this variety of cherry blossom that you see here, they're the pink ones. This is the actual, right, we got Heather, great job Heather. Heather just posted, that is the emoji for the cherry blossom. It's not the Some Yoshino white one, it is actually this one, the Kawazu Sakura, is the cherry blossom emoji for the iPhone and all the other ones. This one is blooming now. So you can go down to Kawazu City in Shizuoka, where they're named after, and see one of the most beautiful festivals that not a lot of foreign tourists know about. This peaks, I'd say, in about a week or two from now. But if you went today, you would see some pretty beautiful cherry blossoms, I believe. I think in about 5 or 6 days, it'll really start to open up as we have weather like this after a really cold few days. Cold front came in. Let me show you the forecast for this right now. This variety. So this is Kawazu down in Shizuoka. That's Kawazu Station, the railroad that goes through there. You can see the announcement of it happened on February 5th, but when they made the announcements, there were already some that were blooming. There's the original cherry blossom tree, which is in the center of it, which is 90% bloomed already, which is crazy. And you can see some of them have already started to bloom, but they're a slower bloom. They won't start to really open up until I don't know, maybe next week. They seem to be. Let me get rid of the black box here. Cherry blossom trees near the front of Kawazu Station, they start to bloom. Okay, so it's about 2 weeks after this date, then they really start to peak. Then they start to fall off pretty quick. So I'd say like around February 15th, it's doing pretty good down there. Okay, it's doing pretty good. But here's the schedule for it. Looks like they're kind of early, but they're opening now. But the opening is a little bit slower because in February, right now, the weather is cooler than it is in March. So they open slower than the Some Yoshino, and they sort of last longer, which makes them better. But outside temperature is a little bit cooler. So maybe bookmark this. consider going down to Kawazu if you want to see the cherry blossoms, and you're going to see some pretty beautiful sights. And yeah, you can tag me in your videos that you share online, because I think I like to pass along the beautiful spring feelings to you guys, as well as when you pass it along with me. To me, it makes me feel pretty good, and I pass it back along to all of you through those Instagram posts on the stories and whatnot. That's all I got for you today. We're going to talk about the overwhelming Takaichi victory, the landslide, the mandate. 2/3 of the government now. She's got a majority. She's got a very strong mandate. Calling the elections right now was genius on her part. That's this very smart political move. We'll talk about that maybe tonight in a podcast type of stream on this channel. So I appreciate you guys. I talked about this a couple of days ago. I predicted a landslide victory for her. You're reading the tea leaves. Probably a very good thing for Japan to have clear direction without any kind of a gridlock. She seems like a different kind of a leader, and she's got the consensus and the backing of the majority of Japan right now, which is a very strong position considering the leaders change once every year for quite a long time. Weakens Japan's position globally, and a lot of other issues. You might disagree politically, but having a strong leader is pretty important, I think, in these times. Again, politics is something we're all going to disagree with, but I'm a fan, and whoever the prime minister is, I'm going to support them. But I'm a fan of hers, and wish her a lot of success in going forward, as well as all of Japan, of course, because I'm only in Japan, so that's how I feel. And I'm also going to talk about the demographics in Japan as well, in a couple of podcast type of things on this channel. So I really do appreciate the support. I'm going right now to the post office today. I just finished it to our Patreon supporters. The postcard is here. I'm going down to see Okuda-san again in a couple of weeks, but you still have some time before I send these. So after the stream, if you did sign up to this to celebrate the Super Bowl win, or to say, I wish my team won, Patriots, I was watching it too. I will send this to you to brighten your day and make your spring. They really are that big. You're going to be shocked. This episode's going to be an amazing episode. Okuda-san's been doing this for decades, and he's become a friend of mine. I like talking to him. And I'm going back down to film the large size strawberries, but I will send this postcard to you today from Tokyo if you sign up right now on the Postcard Club. And it's something I love to do. I love to get something in the mail. That's when I started this in 2017. I've been doing this for a long time. And there's a picture on the back of one strawberry. It's one $75 strawberry, and you'll have the $350 strawberries out in a couple of weeks, he said. So I'm looking forward to filming that for you for Only in Japan, the main channel. That's going to be a fun one. And Carrie, I got your message, so I'll respond to you about that as soon as I can. All right, guys, take care. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in another episode. If you are running the Tokyo Marathon, get in touch with me on Instagram or on the Discord server. I'm going to be running it this year and looking for people that will be watching, spectators who I want to know where you are so I can come and say hi. So if you let me know if you're coming to cheer on a family member, I'd love to know too. Maybe you guys we can get a picture together and I'll use it in the episode or something, but I would love for you to be a part of the episode and get a chance to meet you if we can. So keep in touch with me, let me know, and I'll respond to you on Instagram. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be training again today. Got a 12 kilometer run after being sick for a couple of days, but it's part of the job. All right, take care, guys. Have a good day. Stay warm, or stay cool if you're in Australia. I get those messages, but stay warm if you're in Canada and upstate New York and the rest of the U.S., which is freezing right now. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Mata ne.